Hello and welcome to the show that single-handedly took down the corrupt pharmaceutical industry. Ian's Ideas. Today's episode is kind of a doozy. It's a movie review. Kids of the Round Table. A children's fantasy movie set in modern-day New York. It's one of those Canadian films that is clearly Canadian, but they want you to think it's American. It's not. It's such a bizarre movie. I remember growing up, it was on the Disney Channel like once a week. I guess Mickey just has to have his hands in everything, because Disney had nothing to do with the production. Okay, so this movie is pretty insane, so bear with me while I unpack some of this. Alex is our hero and he loves LARPing with his friends. If you don't know what LARPing is, first of all, I want to congratulate you, but I'm about to take that away from you. It stands for live action role playing. Have you ever been at a public park and seen kids, or more like teenagers, wearing medieval attire and hitting each other with foam swords? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Your arm's gone.
I don't need both arms to defeat you. You're dead.
Actually, I put an invincibility spell on myself before we started, so I'm fine.
Dude, you can't just do that. You have to let me know beforehand. It's in the rule book.
Whatever. Get out of my house. Alex storms and takes over their makeshift castle.
All right, Alex! I claim this castle by right of battle!
Then at the round table, the only time it's actually featured in the movie, he tells his friends the story of King Arthur, and they all sit captivated like they've never heard it before.
All the kings got real mad and started fighting each other.
But their party is interrupted by Scarsdale.
What's this? Babysitters on strike?
The local bully and his two lackeys. Okay, so why is this 20-year-old picking on 12-year-olds? I'm sure we'll find out later. Alex throws a water balloon at Scar.
Hey, Scar!
Huh? You're dead!
Why do bullies in 90s movies always resort to murder immediately? I mean, he threw a water balloon at him. It's annoying, but it doesn't necessarily constitute death. Realizing the ramifications of what he's just done, Alex starts running. He gets away, but rolls down a hill where he sees the sword in the stone. Excalibur. This is where we meet Merlin, played by Malcolm McDowell.
Alex, you know who I am.
You're Merlin?
How the hell did they get Malcolm McDowell in this movie? Hey, Mr. McDowell, we know you've been in movies like A Clockwork Orange and worked with some pretty big names, but we were wondering if you'd want to be in a children's movie with a bunch of Canadians pretending to be American. Sound good? In all honesty, McDowell is the highlight of the film. It's clear that he has a great respect for the character, and he adds his own style to it. The problem? He's mostly just a side character. He's in the movie for like a total of 5 minutes.
What kind of king would you like to be? Would you like to be the king of rock and roll, Burger King, a Los Angeles king, perhaps? Or a chicken a la king?
So Alex talks to Merlin for a bit, gets to take the sword home, then remembers he's late for dinner with his dad.
Oh no!
Here we discover that Alex's mother left them a little while back. This feels kind of forced, like the writers just threw it in to try and add a little depth to the story. The next morning, Alex gets a ride to school from his friend Jenny's father, who also just so happens to be the sheriff. It becomes obvious that Alex has a crush on Jenny. This begins our junior high drama. At school, a new kid is lighting up the basketball court. Alex challenges him to the delight of all the onlookers.
You've had it, kid. Alex is the best.
But he gets absolutely destroyed. Being the pure-hearted King Arthur type that he is, he ends up befriending the new kid.
Name's Luke. I'm Alex.
They hit it off, and Alex confides in Luke that he's always been afraid of the bully Scar. But he also mentions that the real problem is Scar's dad. Because foreshadowing, this leads to a very weird conversation.
He steals people's dogs and sells them to scientists for experiments.
Luke and Alex head back to the castle to find Scar terrorizing their friends. Alex summons the power of Excalibur and beats the crap out of Scar.
You got lucky this time, you little turd.
Then he dubs Luke a Knight of the Round Table. We then get to meet Scar's dad, played by Michael Ironside. Another pretty big name. To be fair, he's not as big as Malcolm McDowell, but he's definitely too big for this movie. Anyway, he and his goons are planning to rob a bank and ride off in the sunset.
You got a family. Ain't you taking your kid?
Hey, my old man was never there for me, and I turned out just fine.
You'll come to notice that bad parenting is a theme in this film. Meanwhile, Alex tells Merlin about the incident with Scar. Merlin praises him for sticking up for his friends, but warns him not to use Excalibur's power for evil. Look, I'm all about foreshadowing, and I understand that it's necessary to the plot sometimes, and it usually works well. But in this movie, they might as well have a narrator that says, something bad is about to happen. And then the bad thing that the narrator was talking about happens in the next scene.
Here you go, my friend.
Great, thanks, man.
I must warn you, though. You must never use this weapon for wrongdoing. You may be tempted to do great acts of evil with it. More specifically, you must never use this weapon to seek bloody revenge on the group of murderers who you will soon find out are responsible for the murder of your best friend Diego.
But Diego's still alive. This leads us to the bad thing that was about to happen. Alex discovers that Jenny has a crush on Luke, so he summons all the power of Excalibur to attack him. All of his friends turn on him.
Stop it! I hate you for this!
What's the matter with you?
Alex realizes that he used the power for evil and goes searching for Merlin. Both Merlin and Excalibur have disappeared, and our prepubescent protagonist is all alone. It turns out that Jenny's birthday party is going on, so Alex's dad offers to give him a ride. He notices Alex is down and asks what's wrong.
I'm sorry, Dad. I know I'm not supposed to cry, but it's so hard sometimes.
Who told you that?
You did, when Mom left.
The look on his face! I learned it from you, Dad! So after giving Alex the worst advice ever, he does offer one wise bit.
Apologize. If you really mean it, they'll come around. If they're really your friends.
Cut to a quick scene where Scar's dad and his crime-loving pals rob the bank. Since the sheriff will be looking for them, their plan is to kidnap his wife and daughter and hold them hostage to assure that they get out of the town unscathed. So they roll up to the sheriff's house, not realizing that Jenny's birthday party is going on. Now they have to hold an entire house of children hostage. Alright, how did we get here? This movie was advertised as a fun fantasy adventure for the whole family, but it's turned into a heavy drama with a hostage situation and a junior high love triangle. Alex decides to check out the party after talking through things with his dad. He sees the criminals through the window and comes up with a plan. First, he deflates the tires on Scar's dad's car. Then he lures the two goons out one at a time and traps them in the barn.
Okay, Junior. You wanted it, you got it.
And finally, he sneaks into the upstairs and calls the police. But Scar's dad happens upon him. Realizing that Alex called the police and that his time is up, he decides to kidnap him. And here's our third bad parenting moment. The mom decides to leave all the kids behind and go after Alex. Noble, right? Well, I'll discuss why this is stupid in a moment. Scar's dad notices the flat tires, but decides to chance it anyways. He hits a ditch, sending his head straight into the dashboard. The other kids show up, throw fruit at Scar's dad, and the sheriff arrives. Then the mom shows back up. Okay, where exactly did she go? She must have known that they were heading for the car. It was pretty close to the house. She just decided to leave all the kids behind to take a walk? After everything calms down, Alex apologizes to Jenny and Luke.
You'll always be my friend, Alex. Me too. We all act like jerks sometimes.
Yeah, no problem, man. We all attack our best friends in an unprovoked jealous rage sometimes. It's all good. And then there's a somewhat strange scene with Scar.
Old man's going back to prison. You kind of put him there.
It wasn't just me.
It's okay, really. I'll probably be able to go see him once in a while. Gonna miss him. Anyways.
I'm all about forgiveness, but this feels tacked on. Suddenly, we cut to Los Angeles, and Excalibur appears to another kid. And I'm sure Malcolm McDowell is nearby, hoping to ruin this child's life as well.
One other thing. I'm afraid it's going to hurt.
Well, there you have it. Not too much magic. I mean, there was a little, but it was mostly kiddie drama. I remembered this movie the other night for some reason, so I looked it up and found out that it was on YouTube. I was just gonna check out 5 minutes to feel a little bit of nostalgia, but I ended up watching the whole thing. It's enjoyable for me. And maybe it's because I remember liking it as a kid, or I don't know, maybe there's just good memories associated with it. But yeah, I looked on Amazon and they do have the DVD, so if you're looking to check it out, do that. I don't know how official it is because the quality's kind of crappy, but who knows. It's cool to have. They also released a comic book based on this movie in 2015. I haven't looked into it yet, but I stumbled across it while researching for this video. Maybe I'll check it out and do a follow-up on it. Either way, thank you for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a dislike down below if you're afraid of riding the city bus. See you later.
Parry your blow. Parry your blow.
Block! Block!
Stun. Stun. You're stunned. You're stunned.
Psych! Dead.
This isn't even fun anymore.
Dead.
I...